Hello, investor. As you've probably observed by now, the title of this video is If You Want to Make a Million Gold, Start by Sorting Your Bags. Let's get into the inspiration for this concept. It comes from a 2014 speech made at the commencement ceremony for the University of Texas. It was made by U.S. Navy Admiral William H. McRaven. In this speech, he said, if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. I highly recommend you watch this speech. The link is going to be here in the slide deck as well as linked in the video description below. Let's get into what this actually means. What it's really getting at is you want to start with what you can do. The task of making your bed is relatively simple. The task of sorting your bags is relatively simple. And while they might not seem significant, the fact that you can do them, have success with it, and continue on to the next task, and then the next task, that action alone will help you build momentum to achieve your goal. If you think about it from the other perspective, how can you expect to organize a gold empire if you can't even be bothered to organize your bags? The rest of this video is going to be an application of this concept. I've got a bank character that has a lot of TSM groups, and a lot of those TSM groups aren't really helping me make gold right now. What I would like to do is rearrange them so that the focus can be on what I'm focused on making gold with. And in doing so, this will also pave the way for more expansion to my gold empire, and ultimately, more gold. Since the title of this video is, if you want to make a million gold, start by sorting your bags, we got to go ahead and sort out our bags. I generally like to keep a few of these, some stuff down at the bottom, stuff that I just kind of like to, it's not really moving anytime soon. These are mostly different costumes and things, so those can all kind of sit down here at the bottom. You know, we've got some redwood. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Yes, thank you, transmog thing. No, okay. Well, apparently I've forgotten the hotkey to try these things on, so we can just throw them on. We've got a nice little red winter clothes, hat, robe, different hat. You know, it's very important to look good because, especially when you're doing business, people want to take you seriously. So we usually present ourselves with the tuxedo. So all that good stuff goes down here. I spent the time to get the bronze tinted sunglasses on all my bank tunes, as it is a nice addition when I don't want to be wearing my ruby shades, which are of course the top-notch banker tune headgear, in my opinion. I've got a couple of I call them Legion BOEs. This one's currently just not getting posted by my auction house or my BOE posting operation, so it's just sitting in the bags for now. Just purchased a bunch of materials for living steel, panthers, things of that nature. Mostly stuff that needs to get sent off to different places or put into the guild bank. In fact, we're going to go ahead and take a little trip over to the guild bank here. I almost forgot to mention this good-looking fella down here is actually just a Sky Golem mount, which I'm currently not posting them actively. Will be more on that in a later video. But let's take a look. So this is my Living Steel Sky Golem storage tab. So we're going to go ahead and just deposit everything. I wish that the guild bank interface was a little more responsive on both ends, but I can understand why it acts this way. These guys are actually going to stay in this inventory for now. The ore can go in here. Got some green tea leaves in case I want to level up another alchemist and unlock the Trillium recipe. Let's jump right into this thing. We're going to type /TSM to bring up our TSM menu, and here we are at the groups menu. At first glance, this doesn't look so bad, but as we start to expand things a little bit, we'll notice that everything's a little crazy. There's a lot of this stuff that does have some usefulness to it, but for the most part, none of this is really doing any good. So here's what we're going to do. I'd like to keep my top level groups focused on what I'm actively engaged in making money with. So in order to do this, to accomplish this, we're going to make a new group called Deprecated. We're going to throw just about everything in there. In fact, some of these things we're actually just going to delete. Like this vendor group doesn't even get used. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. Short term, I was doing some augment rune stuff. No longer interested. Just going to delete it. Professions. The professions group we'll probably be coming back to in a moment because I do think that it is useful to have a dedicated professions group. As you can see, there's a bunch of different stuff in here. Some things that are rather interesting. The Sky Golem group in particular is currently being actively used, as well as, if we get into the materials group, this Legion Herbs group is currently being actively used. We're going to let this one sit for now. I want to get the low-hanging fruit first. This long-term group is originally intended for things that I'm expecting to take a while to sell. As you can see, it's quite a big group. That's mostly due to this transmog group that's in here. In fact, okay, this is going to be actually our first big move. Going to move this one out to... Is this actually possible to do what I want to do? I don't know that I can. Oh, goodness. Ah, move to top level. Perfect. Has to be its own special button. I think that probably makes sense. All right, so transmog's moved out. Archaeology stuff. You know, there's some operations on here, but overall, this isn't being actively used. If I run into any archaeology things that I want to get rid of at some point, they'll likely just get into my generic just sell things group. So we're just going to go ahead and delete it. Not even going to bother keeping the items in there. Battle pets. This is one that I actually am actively using. This one I kind of forgot about. I've been using this on my new Horde server to try and raise some basic funds. So I guess we're probably going to need something to go along with deprecated. Maybe like less frequently used. We can keep it as long term for now. This can kind of be our generic basket for things that we do still use, but want to keep kind of out of sight, out of mind. Darkmoon Faire things. Not really actively engaged in doing this, but I can see how I might want to use them in the future. So for that, it's going to be a good application of this new deprecated group that I've made. So that'll just go down there and be out of the way. Looks as though the Rapid Mine is a market that has gone dry, unfortunately, due to changes. This mounts group I don't actively use, so I'm going to move it into deprecated as well. Again, a useful group to have if I ever get into the business of wanting to do stuff with mounts, but as of right now, not something I'm terribly concerned with. Same goes for this toys and useful items group. Alright, now that we've gotten a few of these moved in here, I'm going to check the operations. I'm fine keeping some auctioning operations because, hey, getting things up to make money is absolutely worth doing. And then this BOE mounts general thing, I'm actually going to go ahead and remove this because I'm just not really in the market of buying more mounts right now. Part of keeping all this stuff streamlined is making an effort to make my shopping operations very quick and concise. We didn't take a look at it before, but I can guarantee you that they are pretty wild right now. Again, with this Pocket Fell Shredder, I'm okay with the auctioning, making the auctioning stuff, but not really interested in buying or selling at the moment. That's interesting, this mailing operation. This looks like a bit of a strangeness of TSM, but that's okay. Quick on and off, and that'll get rid of the mailing operation. Okay, that's all that nonsense. Lockboxes. Again, this is a useful group to have. It's probably gonna. I would. Yeah, actually, we will just move it to deprecated. I don't know that I have the mailing operation set up here to go to. I don't even have that. I'll go ahead and actually set this up because this is a good thing to have. I actually don't have my rogue in here, so let's just make this real quick. Prancy with an IE. And I like to put the server on there too because when you're mailing BattleNet bound things cross server, you can use that you can use TSM to do that. Okay, there we go. And I believe that did get applied. Let's just double check. Yes. All right, Legion BOEs we're going to leave alone because that's one we're currently engaged in doing lots of stuff with. Keeps, this is mostly just for things that don't need to be put into the auction house. You can get rid of the warehousing operations as well. Not something I'm really interested in using at the moment. So gear, this is an interesting one. This is pretty much just a huge group with all the green, purple, and blue items that existed in the game at the time that Warlords of Draenor existed. Honestly, I really don't want to keep this. It's got a couple operations, but frankly, we're just going to delete it. I copy pasted it from somewhere originally. It served its purpose, and it is now done. Okay. So now we just got the professions left. All right. Since we've done that, we're going to do one more new group, and we're just going to call it Other for now. 2 Z's to get the order correct. We're going to move things like BattleNet bound, which is literally just a bunch of BattleNet bound items. We're going to move keeps. And we're going to move long term down here as well to get it out of the way. Okay. Transmog professions and Legion BOEs are what we got left. Honestly, Transmog can almost go into the other category as well, but I feel like at that point we're getting just a little out of hand. All right, so let's handle this this professions thing. We're kind of going to do a similar treatment as we did with the top level stuff. So there's just going to be a new subgroup called ZZZ Deprecated, which we're going to put in all of the deprecated stuff, and then we're also going to do a just kind of other, which is, as I said earlier, things that still have relevant usefulness, but I just want to be out of sight, out of mind for now. So yeah, pretty much just about everything in here is going to be going into the deprecated zone. I'm going to expand this guy out. Oh boy, I really hope I don't have to do this for every single little thing. No, I don't want to do transmog. We're doing professions. Just cinch these all up. My goodness. Okay, so alchemy is going to deprecated for sure. Let's see, what's actually in blacksmithing here? You know, the alchemy operations, honestly, we can probably just even get rid of this. This tune isn't actually engaged in doing any alchemy stuff, so, and the character that is has its own separate profile. So actually, we're just going to go ahead and delete this one. Let me actually just take another quick look at the items in here. Yeah, we're just going to delete it. Clean this thing up. You can always remake it later. Always remake it bigger, stronger, better, faster. Ooh. Okay, I can see how this would have some usefulness, but it's really not. So the couple things in there that would still be relevant, I will just catch and throw up into the appropriate location at a later point. Some Legion food stuff. I'm also not really actively doing cooking things, and I really don't like the structure of this group at all, so we're going to delete it. Enchanting. This one will probably keep around just in the other category, because I do think a decent amount of work went into it, and it's possible we might revive it, and it'd be nice to have a bit of a structure already. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I think all my actual enchanting auctioning operations are located on my other account. So actually, all right, I talked myself into it. It's going to be deprecated. And with that, we're going to need to make sure that we're not doing any crazy operations. I'm okay with the auctioning, like I said, but, well, are we even okay with the auctioning? No, I don't think so. Just going to get rid of it. Just get rid of everything. Although, I guess that means we've got to check all this other stuff too. if we're gonna go this far is to just delete all these operations, I think it just makes sense to delete it. No sense keeping it around. Like I said, all my actual enchanting operations, the more updated ones, are on a different account anyway. Engineering, yep, it's a pretty sparsely populated group. Not going to be missing anything from that. First aid, that's even a thing still? Get out of here. Not bothering with you. Inscription. Yep, nope. Again, there's some leftover Warlords of Draenor stuff from when I had an Inscriptionist on my active server. Not happening right now. Jewel crafting, all that stuff's managed on the other account. Lavish Suramar Feast. Yeah, really just not interested in doing cooking right now. And if we ever do get back into that, I'm going to want to restructure the groups anyway. Delete, delete, delete. All right, materials. We're going to come back to Obliterum. Obliterum's interesting. None of the operations are here. We're just going to get rid of it. I did make quite a bit of money at one point on Obliterum due to the Ring Enchants selling quite well when you obliterated them, which is something you wouldn't really think of, but it was very, very cost effective. So this is definitely a group that I want to keep, this unobtainable group, because for the most part, there's a few that have been added back into the game. Chronicles a bunch of recipes that are no longer able to be acquired. And I do use this from time to time just to check up on things. So we're going to move it to different group. Well, let me actually see what's contained in all these guys real quick. So actually, this is actually currently being used. And yeah. I think actually we're going to do that with the entire recipes group, because I do actively still use this. Get some recipes in every now and then that I would like to continue to be able to post in the auction house. And like I said, I've got a few that are currently active on the auction house, so that's a reason enough to keep it around. This tools one is definitely a perfect other candidate, because it's just a group to keep the tools out of the way. And tailoring. Again, tailoring is being handled on the other account, so we can just get rid of it. All right, Sky Golem. That one's staying right there, as it is currently actively used. Now this materials thing. I think what we're going to do is simply take the herbs group that we've got, move it into the top level professions to keep it more visible, because this is one that I run on a daily basis, buying the 5 different Legion herbs. Very important. In fact, we're going to go so far as just rename this to Legion herbs. That way there's no ambiguity about what it is. And then this materials group, well, frankly, I think I'm just going to delete it. It's not doing me any good on this particular character. I handle mass amounts of materials on other characters, on other accounts that don't use this TSM profile. We're just going to delete it. Yep. I can't see anything in here that I want to keep around. All right, and just like that, we have narrowed things down significantly to a much more manageable state. We've got a couple other groups that are down at the bottom, out of the way, containing a few things that we may or may want to revive at a later point in time, or just things that are not real actual TSM functions, but rather just kind of convenience things, or the long term. I mean, this group is mostly there for server changing and moving battle pets around. I don't do a ton of battle pet stuff, but it is a very effective way to move gold from one server to another. I will admit that. We've got our Legion BOEs, which this group itself is not terribly interesting. Like, the organization isn't very good. I mean, it's only really broken down into these different categories just because it's a huge amount of raw items that show up in the group items over here. And yeah, it's just all one operation, and it all gets mailed to this character. It's got a shopping operation that I don't use too often. Actually, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and no-op this because I'm currently in. We've got a huge halt on buying Legion BOEs. Plus, that scan takes forever to run anyway, and it's just not worth doing. Oftentimes, you'll run into the problem of, just sitting there for too long. It'll time out, or you'll lose everything. Then we've got our professions things. There's definitely an argument for moving both the Legion Herbs and the Sky Golem to the top level in order to make it even more visible. But I think I'm okay keeping it there. I like having a professions group. All right, so I'm back over at the auction house now, and we're going to take a look at how things look over here. So we're on the default, my default at least, of the shopping, which is currently showing me a few more things that I was expecting. Namely, everything that's not under the professions tag. So let's just take a look and see what's going on, do a little bit of troubleshooting. Looks like the legendary group has its, oops, I hate when I do that. The legendary subgroup has its own set of buying instructions, so we're just going to go in here real quick and nuke that. Looks like it's auctioning operations are good. Mailing operations are good. We want to get rid of this particular shopping operation. Okay. And then the other thing under question was the transmog, which looks like still has a shopping operation, which, okay, looks like we're actually going to have to drill down a little bit more into not crafted. And the 5K plus, which for whatever reason, oh, I guess, okay, I see what this was. This was me literally only shopping for 5K plus non-crafted transmog gear, because that was the stuff that was most interesting at the time. I'm not currently looking to increase my position in transmog gear, so we're just going to go ahead and get rid of that one. Let's close this out, open this back up, and now, as we can see, we've got 3 very easy to distinguish subgroups. One, of course, which is our recipes, which is all these lovely different things that I've got set up, and our Sky Golems and our Legion Herbs. We could even go so far as to just run a scan on both of these real quick and see what happens. This won't be very quick, actually. We'll probably skip ahead a bit. All right, there the auction house scan has come back. I would never run these 2 scans together just because it's a bit too much to sort of parse through, but as you can see, these are the core things that I'm interested in purchasing at the moment, so it's very simple, very straightforward. That just about wraps up all the organization we were planning on doing for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please look forward to more coming in the future on other exciting topics. Until then, again, my name is Andrew with Darkshore Capital. We'll see you next time.